Good evening, River Falls High School families. Welcome to our class of 2024 registration. Thank you for your flexibility in joining us in our format. My name is Terrell Gretz, and I'm one of the assistant principals that helps support your families. And I would like to introduce my presenting partner. This is Miss Whitney Sutton, who is one of our school counselors. We just want to give you a little bit of a preview of some things that we'll be discussing tonight. And there is a chat that we're monitoring online to answer your questions. And if you had wanted to ask questions at the end, we'd certainly be happy to answer those as well. Some things that we'll be discussing in this presentation will be, what is academic career planning about at River Falls High School? We will take a look at the specific graduation requirements and how those shape up for your student in their sophomore year. We're going to be looking at the registration process, which your student went through last week, and they will be finishing up this next week, and then what kind of standardized testing impacts your student at River Falls High School. The first thing that we want to touch on is academic career planning. It's important to know that academic career planning is a statewide initiative, and it is a system that helps your student go through a series of inventories, exploration, and really help find their process and goal of what they plan to do after high school. It's really important that you're also familiar with that it's exploratory, that we're not asking your sophomore to declare an occupation, and that's really just to help build their confidence and explore their interests. One thing that's really helpful in the academic career planning guide, which is featured on the homepage of our high school website, is this little puzzle piece, and it represents the model of academic career planning. And like we said, it helps the student explore through a website called Zello and different learning activities to say, who am I? What kind of strengths and learning styles do I have? What kind of workplace would I prefer in the future? Where can I go to explore these opportunities that match my interests? And then plan, what kinds of things can I do to support myself in high school to achieve that route? Specifically, what kind of clubs could I join to explore my interests? And what kinds of classes could I take to support my interests? And then number 4 is go. That's really planning with their school counselor, their focus teacher, their classroom teachers to help them move forward with their plans. Another really helpful thing to check out in the academic career planning guide, there are these very helpful checklists, and they're by grade level. Specifically, some things that your current freshman, upcoming sophomore will want to look at is, where do they want to end up? So they can start to talk to their school counselor during their sophomore planning meeting, and they can start to specify things like, I think I'm interested in going into the military, or I think I'm interested in going straight to work, or I think I'm interested in going to a 2-year college or a 4-year college. Those are the types of things that are on the checklist, and their school counselor, their classroom teachers, and their focus teacher can all help them navigate through those checklists, and those are things and lessons that they do in their homeroom. Another thing to really highlight in the academic career planning guide is that it's really a beautiful guide. There's a lot of just useful information that can help both your student and your family. We're hoping that you can take time to look at it. The first thing that you'll notice is it just gives you a very good overall view of the whole high school and our program information. Another really useful thing is that the academic career plan, it's coordinated and guided by career clusters. Those are also very color coordinated and very enticing to look at. And then very specifically, it discusses the Laude System and then the specific courses that your student may be interested in registering for this week. And it goes into great detail in what the course descriptions are for each of those. Building on top of that discussion that we had before, you will notice that the academic career planning guide, it's very beautiful and color coordinated. And it highlights 6 career pathways, and those are broken down into different career clusters. That is useful information because it's paired up with all of the course descriptions at River Falls High School. So for example, on the next slide, you will notice that we use this example right here. It not only lists the specific career pathway, but then it lists all of the high school courses that they can take to help them pursue that interest. And that lines up with activities that they would do on Zello. So maybe your son or daughter or student would get this career pathway, and that would help them select courses. It gives them examples of careers that they would explore in this field, and it even talks about how in demand those jobs are in different parts of the country. There's just a lot of useful information. We think that your student will really be enticed by all of the useful course descriptions, and we just hope you find it to be a really useful tool. At this time, I'll hand it over to Whitney, and she will go into the specifics of graduation requirements.
All right, so here you will see what is laid out for you, what classes are needed as your student moves on to 10th grade next year. And I'll go over those in more detail with you in just a minute. I do want to draw your attention to the image on the right that breaks down in more detail for you what classes are required for graduation, how many credits are required, and how many credits are required in each different subject. So please look into this in more depth and consider your plans for your student as they are deciding what do they want to go into after high school as well, and what requirements are required for that environment as well. So classes that your student going into 10th grade will need is English 10. You may know that previously English 10 Honors was available as well. Moving forward, all students will be taking English 10 for their English class requirement. Another class that is required in high school is speech, and this class can actually be taken at any point in their 10 through 12 time in their high school career. So while some students do choose to take it in their 10th grade year, other students choose to take it in 11th or 12th grade as well. It really depends on how the student is ready, if they are at the maturity level that is needed to be ready for this course. So please take that into mind as you're considering, should I be taking speech next year? Students will want to take a physical education class next year for 0.5 credits. We do require 1.5 credits for students to graduate with PE in high school. They will have taken Intro to Phy-Ed in their 9th grade year, so they'll want to they can choose from many of our electives that you can review in the ACP planning guide. Students will want to continue in the math sequence, which is laid out for you here, and I will go into more depth a little bit on the next slide for you as well. And then for biology, they will also want to take 1 credit of biology. We offer 6.5 credits. 6 classes that are 0.5 credits, and they will need to choose 2 of those classes, and they are listed for you here. I strongly recommend that you and your student look more in depth into these classes in the ACP planning guide, as well as talking with your school counselor and the science teachers that your students are having right now to get an idea of what is the best fit for your students for these biology classes, as well as what is the end goal, what kind of environment do they want to be in after high school as well. And then for social studies, they will be taking Global Studies 1 and Global Studies 2. So again, looking at the math sequence flow for mathematics, they'll want to continue in whatever class is next for them. If they took Algebra 1 this year, they'll want to move on to geometry next year. I know sometimes that is a point of confusion for students and families that geometry is in between Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, so I just wanted to point that out to you as well. We do require students to take 3 credits of math in high school to graduate, although we do recommend that they take a math class all 4 years in their high school experience. Sometimes our schedule does allow flexibility for students to take 2 math classes in 1 year, but we do just recommend that for your student only if they have a strong passion and interest for math, if they want to get to an advanced level, and if it is important to them based on what their end goal is. So always have the end in mind when considering that. I wanted to provide an explanation just a little bit for you, an example of what course listings look like in the academic and career planning guide. And I just wanted to point out a couple things to you as you're looking at the course listings and what classes your students will be taking. So please pay attention, of course, to the course name and the grade level. Students going into 10th grade will have some more classes available to them, but some are just available for 11th and 12th graders as well, so please be paying attention to that. You'll want to pay attention to the prerequisites for the course. The student cannot take the course if they haven't taken the prerequisites yet, so please pay attention to that. And then, of course, you'll want to pay attention to the course description, where you'll get a brief explanation of what the course is, and we want you to pay attention to that and see if that fits your interest level. If you have any more questions after reading the course description, we would love for you to ask your school counselor or a teacher in that department as well for more information. These are a couple of post-secondary credit opportunities. We do offer many different ways for students to receive college credit in high school, and these are a couple of opportunities that students going into 10th grade can take advantage of. And so transcripted credit is an opportunity for students to take a class at the high school with a high school instructor, and they'll be receiving credit for the class at the high school as well as college credit at a technical college. And then advanced placement classes are an opportunity for students to take an advanced level class, and then they will take an exam in the spring and have the potential to earn college credit as well after taking the exam. While you are deciding with your student what classes you want to take next year, I did want to make you aware of the Laude System. And this system provides an opportunity for students to be recognized for challenging courses that they have taken. And so this is calculated. Some courses are given a point value, and then their points are added up over their 4 years and then are multiplied by their GPA. And this, they may fall into one of the following 3 categories and receive a cord at graduation. And there is a list in the academic course planning guide of what the point values are for various classes and various departments. And in the academic and career planning guide, there is a link to a score calculator so you can get an idea of where your student is at and where they may want to be. I would like to draw your attention to the registration worksheet. This is not required for students to fill out, but it is recommended if they would like to get a visual and to plan out their classes and make sure that they have enough classes to meet the full 8 credits that they should be registering for. Another thing I want to point out is not to forget to request alternates. And so this is very important as we head into making schedules in the summer. We want to make sure if one of their chosen electives doesn't fit, that they receive classes that they still really enjoy. And so this worksheet provides an opportunity for students to visualize it and lay it all out as they prepare to register online on Infinite Campus. And that is really the most important part, is that registration has opened tonight, and we ask that students put their classes into Infinite Campus by February 1st. There is a video that shows you how to register for your classes on Infinite Campus, and it is here for you, and it is also linked in the registration kind of one-stop shop here in the image on the right, and your students have access to this, and it's on a Schoology post where they can find all of that information, including the link to the ACP guide, the grade level information, and also the registration worksheet. So please use this resource to answer any of your questions about registration. And then some points to ponder as you and your student are considering what classes you should be signing up for next year. We ask that you and your student are mindful in your choices, and we really want you to dive deep into the academic and career planning guide, read those course descriptions, connect with teachers and your school counselor to make sure that your student is choosing courses that they really are passionate about. Begin with the end in mind. Consider what your student what kind of environment your student would like to go into after high school and what kind of requirements there are in that environment. We ask that you and your student keep a balance. We want your student to feel challenged. We also want them to not feel overloaded. And we also want you to consider their home and school activities, what connects with their passion and interest, and that they are a well-rounded and healthy individual. And it is not a race, but it's your pace, so we want you to not base your decisions off of anyone but your own student and their individual needs. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to point out to you the state assessments that we have at River Falls High School. So this year, your student is in 9th grade, and they will be taking the ACT Aspire, which is just an opportunity for them to prepare for the ACT that they will take in their junior year. And then next year, when your student is a sophomore, they will be taking the ACT Aspire as well as the Forward exam. And a very wonderful resource that we have available for students is the Method Test Prep Program, and this provides an opportunity for students to prepare for the ACT as well as the PSAT if that's something that they're interested in, and this can be found through Zello. All right, and if you have any questions, we will take them at this time. Also, you may refer to your school counselor or any of the other wonderful members in the student services team, as well as teachers that your students are taking right now. Please ask them questions about what courses they may be interested in. We are all very excited about registration and happy to help them however that we can.